And also I don't even know what this on top is. It looks like a not even used package of an old knife. And here we have some to-go cups and ice cubes trays. So what would you, and I mean, it's not important that you give a whole cupboard like a category or a name, but at least every shelf should have a category name. So what would you name it? I mean, this would be like cups and bowls and nutritional supplies. And here we have teas and empty jars. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Laura Larson Organizing. Today I'm going to show you 3 reasons why your kitchen is probably also a mess, why your kitchen also probably feels just like chaos. Up front of this video, actually a client reached out to me and she told me all the problems that she has within her kitchen and why she doesn't feel comfortable in the kitchen. So I went over and we worked together, and I actually used her kitchen as a basic sample because in her kitchen you can see 3 main reasons why, which a lot of people have in their kitchen. These are really simple, easy things which most people do wrong in their kitchen and which can be easily fixed. So I thought I'm gonna make a video for all of you out of this, where I take you with me on the journey with the client, where I first gonna show you the kitchen the way it looks and what the problems are, the voice message also, where she told me what her problems are within the kitchen, how she feels, and also how to quickly turn them around and have easy systems installed so that these problems doesn't occur anymore and you really just feel really comfortable and happy in an organized kitchen. All right, let's first listen to her voice message, listen to how she feels in the kitchen, what her problems are, and let's take a look at the kitchen, how it looks today.
Ich bin einfach Chaos. Also mein größtes Problem ist halt, wenn ich irgendeine Chance habe, Sachen nicht richtig wegzuräumen, dann nutze ich sie und räume sie nicht richtig weg, sondern pack sie irgendwie oben drauf, lasse sie stehen 3000 Jahre, was damit schon wahrscheinlich mein Ziel ist, dass es irgendwie so einfach wie möglich gestaltet ist, damit ich nicht immer wieder an den Punkt komme, wo ich es halt chaotisch werden lasse, wo ich einfach nicht wegräume und dann immer schlimmer wird quasi.
So, as you could see and hear from her, her main problem is she feels her kitchen is chaos. Her biggest problem is and it's not even just her, it's probably a lot of us, that we just don't put things away if it's too difficult. It's the same for us, and I'm a professional organizer. We all know this, it has to be easy. And if it's not easy and accessible and functional, we just don't do it. We don't put things away, and that's the problem she's struggling with, that she's not putting things away, that she's just leaving things on the counters everywhere, and then clutter just appears and gets more, and she just doesn't feel comfortable in the kitchen anymore. And I think the main word she dropped was, I want it to be easy. I want it to be easily easy. I want just to go in my kitchen and make it feel easy, put things away, and just live in an organized environment. So in the next step, let's take a further look at the videos, at the kitchen, how it looked before, at her kitchen organization that she has right now. So I can guide you a bit through it, when I first walked in the kitchen, saw of what the main problems are. So here we see the countertop, and here we also already see what she's talking about, that she wants these countertops to be free. It should be a working area or maybe a sitting area. I see some chairs there. It looks almost like a bar countertop where you can also sit and eat, but it's just crumbled with stuff. We see a box, we see some bread lying there, some food, we see a rope, and some bottles. I mean, it's not the craziest countertop I've ever seen, but I know what she means. This is another interesting case here. So we see her oven, the stove where she's cooking. And this is something that a lot of people usually have, is that they have their oils and spices, which they cook with, pretty close to the countertop. And this, on the first hand side, sounds pretty intuitive because you are cooking and you want things handy, and like oil and salt and pepper are things you need all the time for cooking, so you just want to have it nearby. But the problem is, as soon as you have some stuff on the countertop standing, it's somehow like a magnet for clutter. So as soon as like one thing standing there, you easily put another thing to it. And so instead of having like your 1 or 2 oils and your salt and pepper, it's like more bottles, and we see some wine cork things already there, and also I can see some vinegar maybe you don't need for the cooking stove but more for salads or something. So you just see how things are accumulating there. And the second reason why I would not recommend to do this is because it just gets dirty, especially close to the stove where you're cooking, where you're frying stuff, where like oil is splashing everywhere. Things get dirty so easily. And also, you can not see it in the video, but we took a look after at the oil tray there. It was really oily and a lot of spices and like salt rest and stuff was everywhere. It's really difficult to clean. So I would really recommend to have your surface, especially around your the stove where you cook, absolutely free, that when you're done with cooking, you can just take a wipe and just like clean it all over, and this just keeps things organized and also clutter free in the long term, and also way easier to clean. But on the positive remark, she has these hanging systems. On the right side, you can see that she has a hanging system for her the spoons and spatulas and whiskers and stuff. And here, if I continue the video for a second, you can see she has like this magnet clipboard for the knives and like scissors. And this is already a perfect system because these things, they're out of the way. Things are not lying around. It's an easy way to store it, especially if you don't have enough space in drawers or whatever. So this is a really good way already to get things off the countertop, on the wall. Just make sure that they're not hanging too close to the stove. Also, the things can splash around like an arm length away or something. But this is already like a good system to have things out of your way. And what I see here is also like a pretty good system already, is that she has the pots and pans hanging there. Because for a lot of people, pots and pans are a pain, to be honest, to store in drawers, because you never know how to put them on each other, and then you want the lower one, you have to take all the other things out. And this is for a lot of people the pain, and what do I do with the lids? So she has like the pans and stuff hanging there. And also that's what she mentioned, it's easy for her. She can just hang in there. So this is a system that's easy for her and that works. So that's the goal that we want for the rest of her kitchen too. All right, and then we look in the first cupboard here. And what I can see here, or saw already from the first glance, everything is mixed in there. So you have, I see some nutrition supplies, like some magnesium or iron pills. I see some protein shake. I see some tea above there, but also some empty jars for storage. I see some cups here. I see some cereal bowls. And also I don't even know what this on top is. It looks like a not even used package of an old knife. And here we have some to-go cups and ice cubes trays. So what would you, and I mean, it's not important that you give a whole cupboard like a category or a name, but at least every shelf should have a category name. So what would you name it? I mean, this would be like cups and bowls and nutritional supplies. And here we have teas and empty jars. And even I see here also a thing that's also like a nutrition supplement. And here we have even some things that you could even challenge you don't need, because why do you need an old box from a knife, or ice cube trays. And I see even behind that here, these things are things lying, and even some stuff that looks like replacement kitchen tissue. You can't even reach it. And especially also, I would not recommend to store anything on top of these cupboards, because when you're cooking and like oil gets up and it gets dusty, and it makes a really greasy surface on top. So everything that you're cooking with, always store inside the cupboards, nothing on top here. So I can totally see how she feels like this is chaos, because there's no system, no category, and also a lot of stuff behind that. There we see that she has used a box. I mean, boxes is already a great solution, because boxes you can pull out, and then you can, for example, I think she had all her baking categories in here, like flour and sugar and things to make cookies and whatever. And then you can just pull these boxes out. Then it's a way easier to have an overview of what's in there, especially if you have like really deep shelves and you always just see the first, like the surface, right? You never know what's behind that. So boxes are a great solution. And on top of that, we see some mixers and some other things, a scale. So that's already actually like, that looks like an okay cupboard to me from the first inside. And here the next one, like we see on the bottom, we have some food supplies. On top we have, I think that's corn, but also some plates and some towels. And on top we have glasses, a box with whatever in there. So also it's the same thing, that there is not really like a category or like a fixed place for things to go or where things belong. So that makes it really difficult for her to, every time when you have something in your hand, think about, oh, where do I put this now? I mean, I feel like she put things where there was space. That's totally fine. But that's also an explanation why it's so difficult for her to put things away. With the plates, we're going to see this in a second. There's the other shelf. She knows where your plates go. She'll put them away. but everything else doesn't really have a fixed space where to put things. So that makes it every time you need your decision muscle kind of to decide, okay, where I'm going to put this now. And because sometimes at the end of the day, we're just exhausted, so we don't do it. But I can see it also in this cupboard. And here also a classic, like this is the fridge. It's kind of around this height. So for her, it's easy just to put stuff on it. And also she's collecting like the package of eggs, because you can return them and donate them for markets or whatever, which I think is a great idea. But at the same time, it's stored next to a milk foamer, electrical heater, and a toaster. So especially with these devices, you want to access them easily. You want to, also because it's electrical stuff, you want to also maybe store them a bit safer. And also because there's food and liquids involved, and there's paper next to it, this just like looks and feels already very chaotic. Just to put this all together. And also I see a lot of paper lying there. So I think you can really feel like the top of the fridge is just like a put things out of sight, out of mind stuff, a storage place, but not really a system behind it. All right, then take a look at her drawer. I mean, this thing that she has already in her drawer, especially in her cutlery drawer, is great because you can divide your knives and your forks and your spoons. You can get these things at every furniture store, order them online. That's a super easy, great system. But also on top of it, you can feel here that there is no system. I see 1 or 2 chopsticks, and some of 2 rubber bands, a bottle opener. I don't even know what this behind there is, but it just feels like tossed behind this. Like I don't want to think about it. It fits in there. But I bet if I would close the drawer and ask her where some stuff is, she wouldn't even like exactly know. So this like also feels like it doesn't have really a specific place. And then this is the famous mentioned drawer with the Tupperware, where she says, when I have a Tupperware in my hand, I already stop thinking about putting things away, even though she has a designated drawer for it. But the problem that she probably has with this drawer is it's really difficult because you have to lift up boxes, to put boxes in there, to store them on top. You don't know what to do with the lids, so it's just like a chaos, and you just prefer not to touch it, not to open it, even though she has a designated drawer for it. But yeah, I'm going to show you, we have some systems for that, how to easily also store your Tupperware. And then the other famous pots and pans drawer, because that's already smart. It's also something I always recommend if you don't have something to hang the pots or whatever, to put them on the lower way of the cupboard, not on the upper cupboards, just for an easy reason. It's heavy. Like, imagine you have to take this heavy soup pot every time and put it somewhere up there. It's always easier to put heavy things on the bottom, what you did already. But there's a famous question, like how do you store these things into each other, then they don't fit, and what do I do with the lids? And then I have to cram through all the lids to get to all this whatever, and it just feels like a mess and it's stressed out. So I don't blame her that she doesn't want to put things away. And then, as I already mentioned, the famous space beyond the kitchen thing. I don't know if this is everywhere in the world like this, but in Germany, this is somehow, it's a law that you store your cleaning devices. And somehow it makes sense because it's kind of a messy area beyond the sink where you don't want to store like food or your plates or anything for cooking. So cleaning device is a perfect thing. And she has already used a box here to kind of put a system in there. But everything else is just like really standing around, and I bet she doesn't even have an overview of exactly everything that is in here. That she doesn't even know what all cleaning devices she has. Some things look double, some not, maybe some are on purpose. I don't know, but I think also as we can see, but if you take a further look at the box, you can also see that things are just jammed in the box. They're thrown on top, so things are layering on top. And if things layer on top, it leads to the problem that you don't see what's below them, what's under each thing. So that's also why I recommend, if you have to put things in boxes, and boxes are a great choice, especially to separate things and keep an organizational system, always to stack them next to each other. Because as soon as you put things on top of each other, you directly forget what's below it, and then just things become like a really unconscious mess. So this is also a part that also belongs to the kitchen for organizing. It's not just the food and the plates and the cooking utensils, it's also the cleaning devices. And yeah, then last but not least, we have her open shelf, which doesn't look too unorganized. Let's pause here for a second. And but still, you can see, okay, there's some plates, also why plates are easy for her to put back, because she knows all the plates go here. So if she used one, she's just putting it back. If she used a cup, she's just putting it back here. She has her spices on a rotating thing. That's a really smart solution. But also we see some things just cramped in here. I think these are teas and looks like a milk can or something. Also some boxes. Also here we have some to-go cups. You remember there also were to-go cups on the other side and the cupboard. Things which are really high above here, which you can't reach. There's a book here, so there's also things to optimize and to use the space. And especially because this is a pretty cupboard and it's open cupboard. So this is it's an eye catcher. When you walk into the kitchen, it's the place where you want to put also your prettiest trays and plates and cups, because you see these things every day, so it should make you happy and it should not feel crowded or overloaded with stuff. So especially if you have open cupboards and they're not hidden, I would really recommend to really thoughtfully think about what you want to put in there and actually then put it in. Yes, there was one more storage room, and this was next to the fridge. So here on the side you see the fridge and the electrical device on there. This is also a typical thing. This shelf here is quite high. I think it's even above my head, so above 180 or above 6'9", I think I am, or 6'11". And it's a typical thing where she just tossed things on top. Like I see some packages here, some cleaning stuff, a lot of paperwork, looks like manuals, waffle iron, and that is totally fine, especially if you have these high spaces which are hard to see in, that you store stuff there which you don't need all the time, and stuff that also maybe you never use but you have to keep it. So that's not completely wrong, but it looks mainly, if you look at it, as you just put stuff on there. And even though it's a high shelf, it's still a place in your apartment, and she doesn't have like the big apartment, so every centimeter counts. That even though in these places you are really careful about what you're storing there and how you waste your space, kind of. Even though you can't see it, it's still there. And then below that she had a shelf where she stores all her food. And that's also that the next part is, even though you can put the category food on this, I see some cereal stuff, I see some breakfast stuff, I see some milk. But also her problem is, because this shelf is still pretty high for her, she has no idea what's in the back here. But there are some nuts and what's especially totally in the back there, because you need to get all behind the other food. So that makes, especially with food items, really difficult, because things are that you're not using that much just go in the back, or you forget them, and then their due date is running out. You have to toss them away. Especially with food, it's pretty sad. So there we're also going to introduce a different system, how she can organize that better. And then we have here down there her cleaning devices, some bags, the famous bags and bags, and also some deposit. This is something that she just has to put away, so I didn't even focus on that a lot. But also it's always easier the more you get stuff off the floor, and also get a small, better system in this bags here, because it just seems a lot and a lot cluttery and takes a lot of the room. But there's also ways how to improve it. So now you've seen her kitchen, and I'm gonna tell you the 3 main reasons that her kitchen doesn't feel organized. It's not by far not the worst kitchen that is there on earth, by far not. I think she's been way too critical with her, but she doesn't feel like this. And this is the important thing. It's also where I step in, and I love to do my work. The 3 main reasons why her kitchen doesn't feel organized, and probably also your kitchen doesn't feel that way, and these 3 reasons which can easily be fixed with systems. And that is the surfaces, that there's just too much stuff stored on the surfaces, some not intentionally stored there because just she doesn't want to put it away, but some also intentionally stored there, like some cutting boards or the oils next to the stove. So that as soon as there's a permanent or not permanent, but there's stuff on the counter, the kitchen gives you an unorganized feeling, and also clutter like a magnet just accumulates even more. And also it leads to that you just put more and more stuff even there, and it's especially harder to clean, especially in a place like a kitchen, which you want to clean almost every day if you use it that regularly. The second point is that she doesn't have a designated spot for everything. if I would have to think about with every single item that I have in my hand or that I clean out of the dishwasher, or with a food item that I bring home from the store, like where do I put this now? It would be exhausting, yeah? It would be so mentally draining to every time think about it. And if I put it in this cupboard, if I put it there, that I also wouldn't do it. I would just like clam it on the surface somewhere, put it there, thinking about, okay, I want to anyhow cook it tonight, or don't need to put the knife away, I'm going to cut anyhow something tomorrow. You know, and then there's stuff just like piles up. So point one, the surfaces. Point two, there is no designated space for everything or designated spot for everything. And point number three, there is no easy system how to reach things. So you have seen it in the video that there are sometimes things even behind each other in the cupboard, which is hard to reach because you have to first grab something out and then put something in. Or the pots and pan, you have to take the pans up and to put the other pan in or to reach the lid. The same with the Tupperware, or with the food that we saw in the end where something is cramped in the full bag. You know, if you have to pick out a ladder to reach something or to take a look what's behind like the first jars, there's nothing you can do. Or there's nothing you would do all the time. So it would just like cram it in the front and things move back and the chaos continues. So these three things, the clean surfaces, the designated spot for everything, and have everything in a functional, accessible way are the three main winners for you and your kitchen, how to have an easy, organized system. So I went to her, we organized. It was just 5 hours we took for our entire kitchen. We did it together. And I'm going to show you now the result videos, where I can also show you how things have improved and what we did. So also you can maybe take a look at your kitchen and maybe apply some of those easy systems.